Hello, so my name is Nicholas Pelham, and I'm going to be answering the question of how wisdom helps us hear God's voice. This is for my Proverbs class. And so the first question, as we look through the book of Proverbs, is where do we see the theme of wisdom and why is that important? Well, we get this answer a bit from the book of Ecclesiastes, which says that the idea is that the purpose of life comes through the fear of the Lord and to keeping the Lord's commandments. Well, the book of Proverbs says that the wisdom is the beginning of the fear of the Lord. So therefore, the wisdom is then really important when it comes to fearing the Lord, which is what it means to be a child of God. Okay, so where do we get this idea that wisdom then helps us discern God's voice? Well, let's look at some passages in the book of Proverbs. Proverbs 6 has verses 16 through 19 saying, "There are 6 things that the Lord hates. 7 are an abomination to him. A haughty eyes, a lying tongue, a hand that sheds innocent blood, a heart that devises wicked plans, feet that make haste to run to evil, false witnesses who breathe out lies, and one who sows discord among brothers." Then, as we turn to the end of the book of Proverbs, and the very end, chapter 31, we see these passages, starting in verse 6. "Give strong drink to the one who is perishing, and wine to those in bitter distress. Let them drink and forget their poverty, and remember their misery no more. Open your mouth for the mute, for the rights of all who are destitute. Open your mouth, judge righteously, defend the rights of the poor and needy." Well, the ideas that we can get from Proverbs 6 and Proverbs 31 here are these ideas that the Lord is promoting a sense of unity and how the world ought to be. In the first chapter 6, we see all these things that the Lord hates. And so from these, like a lying tongue, we see that is something that the Lord does not like. Therefore, it is not something that we should do. So this discernment and how wisdom gives us an understanding of what the Lord is saying to us now, well, we look at wisdom from Proverbs and say, how does this apply? Does this match? Does the way that I'm living my life, or does what I feel the Lord is telling me, am I doing something that would then be lying or something that he hates and abhors? If the answer is he would abhor this, then we have that discernment filter now to say this isn't something that I should do. In the same way, in the end of Proverbs 31, when we see that there's a call to give to those who are needy and to those who are poor and those who are suffering, we can filter this out and say, hey, if this is something that the Lord is calling me to, this is something that he has called Christians to do, his children to do. So therefore, it's something that we can reasonably say that the Lord is putting upon us and we should act upon. It's a good discernment in that regards. So overall, does the wisdom literature, how does that point us to a way to discern the words of the Lord? Well, it gives us a framework for the way in which we can determine if it is a good thing that the Lord intended or if it isn't. Just a good general idea. So that's it. Thank you for listening.